questions now. So for more on the story, we welcome to studio Mark Schulman, the editor-in-chief at History Central and editor at columnist at Newsweek, and Dr. Evan Cohen, the former foreign media advisor to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here in studio on this day. So, of course, Donald Trump, as we know, has used Twitter and other social media platforms regularly in recent years, not only to speak to his supporters or his base, but also even at times to world leaders. So, Mark, I'd like to start with you. Your reaction to the fact, after what we saw playing out last week in the Capitol, that he has actually been banned from these social media platforms.
Okay, 2 points. Number one, he violated the terms of service a long, long time ago, but they all made the decision because he was president of the United States, they weren't going to remove him or do anything to his account. At this point, he is a lame duck president with 2 weeks or less now, 10 days to go in his term. He incited sedition and a riot in the capital of the United States, and therefore they decided that any more comments of his could be dangerous. They led to deaths in this particular case. He was directly responsible for leading to those deaths. There may have been even more behind it, but we don't know. So they made the responsible decision, in my opinion, that was enough. PARLER is a whole other discussion. We can have that separately in a few minutes. But he violated the terms of service a long time ago, but they weren't going to do anything to the President of the United States. But now that he's really at the end, I think they made the right decision. They should have made it a while ago, in my opinion.
Evan?
Actually, I think that the whole issue, they're trying to focus the issue around Donald Trump, but that's not the issue. That's hardly the issue. We're talking about the fact that Amazon blocking PARLER, for example, carries Mein Kampf. If you want to buy Hitler's books on Amazon, you can go there and buy Hitler's books on Amazon. I mean, it's no problem whatsoever. On the other hand, if you look, for example, at Google, which have also not allowed via their App Store to download and install PARLER, and Twitter has banned Donald Trump, but allows Khamenei of Iran to call for the destruction and annihilation of the state of Israel, and he has never once, in all the years of Twitter, even been suspended, let alone banned. So we're talking about a situation here where all of the tech giants are basically a concerted effort against what they view as a danger to them, which is the right-wing politics. It's not only Donald Trump. Donald Trump was the one attacked now, but I mean, they shut down Walkaway on Facebook, which is a group of former Democrats who now support the Republican Party. And this is something which has systematically been taking place over the last years, where they've been blocking and shutting down any right-wing
No, only right-wing things that have gone beyond bounds,
okay.
absolutely.
I'll
in terms of PARLER, let's talk about that for a moment.
I'll give an example.
Okay, let's do one at a time, and then we'll get a chance to react.
I'll give a concrete example, okay? My husband was on a chat in Facebook with someone, and the person opposite him was saying the most disgusting things. I have no other way to say this. My husband was blocked. And there was not a single thing in what he said that could even be deemed, let alone incitement. It wasn't even insulting. He was blocked because he supposedly violated, obviously the person he was discussing, whatever he was discussing with, had something to say to Facebook, and they reported him and he was blocked. And then he reposted, and then they didn't unblock him. They said that he was suspended for 24 hours. After that, I'm not going to get into the finer details, but the idea here is that they very, very easily block right-wing speech. Very, very easily. And we have Hitler supporters and Khamenei calling for the destruction of the state of Israel and annihilation of Jews, selling Mein Kampf, Hitler's Mein Kampf on Amazon, and nothing. I'm actually going to say something which might surprise some of the listeners at the moment. They should sell Mein Kampf, and they should allow Khamenei to speak, because what I think is that there is no such thing as free speech except for. It's either everything or nothing. And if you oppose the way someone speaks, then you have the criminal justice system to attend to that. You can sue punitive damages. There are lots of ways you can do, not shut down free speech, ever.
Okay, I don't agree. You can't yell fire in a movie theater. This is the same thing. It's the same equivalent. Also, I think Khamenei should be taken down. And I'm not sure about Mein Kampf. I also don't think it should be sold, or should be sold only a version that's highly edited and explained. I think they have a responsibility. You know, we question, what are they? Are they the public square? Well, they're not public square. They're private companies. Now, I think they have way too much power. Don't get me wrong. I think they have way too much power. I've been an Apple developer since 1984. I've been on the web since 1995. I fought with both Google and Apple over the years. I won some battles and I lost some battles. But I generally think they have way too much power. I think they should be regulated. I think they should not be able to track us. I think I can give you a whole list of things about them. But I do not think this is an attempt to silence the conservatives. I think this is an attempt to silence speech that calls for sedition, that calls for violence. They make mistakes. Don't get me wrong, they make mistakes, and I'm sure, I have no idea what happened in this particular case he mentioned, and I'm sure they made some mistakes. They make maybe too many mistakes. But the reality is they have a certain responsibility. Now, we have to find the right balance between the two, and we haven't found the right balance. We've gone from no regulations and to they're self-regulating right now, and maybe in a haphazard sort of way. I mean, let's look at Parler for 2 seconds, because why were they taken down? They were taken down because they couldn't self-regulate at all. I heard the CEO of Parler being interviewed 3 days ago just by accident. He was being interviewed by Kara Swisher, and he explained how they regulate. They regulate by taking 5 of their own users, and they act as a judge to decide, a jury, to decide what things should be taken down and what should not be taken down. They don't want to hire anyone to do it because it's too expensive. 5 people, it takes 2 to 3 days on average for something to be decided upon by this jury of people who are users of the app, which by themselves will probably be biased in one way or another. So it's not a very good way of doing it. Facebook spends probably hundreds of millions of dollars at this point in terms of moderation, getting terrorists off. I know Google, for instance, spends literally hundreds of millions of dollars trying to keep terrorist videos and other things of that nature that we never see off of their platform, off of YouTube. Do they always succeed? Probably not. Do they take some wrong things down? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I have a fight with Google ongoing. They blocked, I have a video I put together on the Holocaust for students, and they blocked it to anyone under the age of 18 because it had images that were disturbing. So only 18 plus can see this video on the Holocaust. I think that's a problem. That's a mistake. But they make mistakes. But they try, and I think they need to be regulated. We need to find the ways, carefully, thoughtfully, to regulate them and find the right way. But I do not accept the idea that it's an attempt to silence the right.
Why the timing, though? There was a lot of rhetoric in the build-up to this election.
Absolutely.
There was a lot of inflammatory rhetoric on social media, yet the ban only happened after Wednesday.
Because after Wednesday, because suddenly all the rhetoric, all the fears, people say, oh, it's too much, you're exaggerating, he'll never do this, it'll never reach that. But what happened? The capital of the United States was ransacked by a bunch of supporters of the president who went there at his direct recommendation. I won't say orders, but we'll find out about what's going to happen in the future. But because of his rhetoric, they ransacked the capital of the United States, and people died. Now, so it's very nice, in the abstract, I lost the election, I didn't lose the election, I won the election, he's lying about this or that. Okay, that's a problematic in and of itself, and the whole issue of fake news and all that's a whole other subject matter that needs to be discussed because it's very, very serious. The biggest problem we have is the fact that too many people believe things that are not true, but we'll leave that part aside. But in this particular case, it happened now because the rhetoric, the tweets, the posts led to deaths, and it led to the ransacking of the American Capitol.
It's simply untrue, because once again, we're trying to focus on Donald Trump here, or we're trying to say that this is the issue. Walkaway was shut down too. Why were they waiting to shut down Walkaway? This is once again the Democrats who switched to the Republican Party. Over the last months, there have been rioting by Antifa and BLM, supported by congresswomen and congressmen who actually said, go out into the streets, riot. They said things about the police. Nothing was done to any of these people. Why the timing, you ask? And that's an excellent question, because exactly as mentioned before, Donald Trump will no longer be president in 2 weeks' time. And the moment that Donald Trump is not president, there will be no retaliation. So the timing is because Donald Trump is leaving office.
Gentlemen, this is fascinating. We could discuss it for another few hours. Dr. Evan Cohen and Mark Schulman,